Welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your host, TAK. A weekly podcast with the latest sports news, the hottest of the hot takes, and the best predictions you can get. Now, Chris, Ace, take it away.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to your favorite podcast, the Everything Goes Podcast with TAK, episode 187. Preseason football is finally over, and we now count down to week 1. We will talk about our division, who we think is going to win the division, who the best running backs are in that division. So we break down different positions. Fantasy football draft weekend. That is what this weekend was. I watched my dad have 5 pages laid out in front of it with 2 computers open, acting like this was the real thing going down. We'll talk about the grades that we got. Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for the intro.
That's good.
Welcome back, guys. How you guys doing?
I'm doing well. Chris, how's everything down there or over there in Colorado?
Dude, it's the rainiest freaking season they've ever had here, man. We got an inch of rain in 15 minutes yesterday. We're breaking records out here. It's crazy.
I got 2 hurricanes just cooking up down there in the Atlantic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't you guys on a watch?
Yeah, it's not supposed to hit my area directly, but like we'll get the wind and the rain. But God forbid that thing shifts, man. They're saying it's gonna be a Category 3.
Oh
yeah.
There's gonna be some rumbling.
It's that time of the year.
Oh, it's getting big. It's rumbling.
God, every year it's like we talk about this, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of thankful. Just it's only hail, even though that can do some damage, but still.
Yeah, I'm so sick of the freaking news, though, man. The news is so freaking depressing. I'm so glad football's back.
I don't watch it.
I'm so sick of hearing about this COVID crap. COVID numbers are up again. EV2, which is the election violation variant part 2. It's just they're talking about locking us down again, and over 100 colleges are already putting the face diapers back on their kids.
I think there'll be a big pushback this year.
Yeah, I think a civil war is coming. I really do.
Well, they can control it in schools a little bit easier, I think, as annoying as it can be. But
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not putting a mask back on.
Yeah,
just is not happening.
I'm gonna mark that as random rant too.
Oh no, I can really go on a rant, but we don't want to make this. We don't want to make this a political freaking podcast.
Let's dive in before we break down preseason, how we feel about preseason, who we like, maybe some major cuts we're kind of looking at our team. Let's talk about some big news that happened before the last preseason game. I wake up to a text notification on my phone. Bleacher Report hit me. Trey Lance gone off the 49ers. And where does he land? Down in Jerry World, where they just cut Will Grier. Cooper Rush is still there. They're talking about extending Dak to a long-term contract. But you just traded Trey. Dad, like, as a Dallas fan, who lots of Dallas fans in this country, too many.
What'd they give up to, by the way?
I think it was like a 4th round pick. 4th round pick.
Yep.
As a Dallas fan, what's your initial thoughts, and what do you think is Jerry's plan here? Is he just going to be your backup, and God forbid Dak sucks or gets hurt, Trey Lance gets the opportunity? Maybe this year Dak doesn't get them to the playoffs or is a one and done, and they're like, you know what? We're going to roll the dice with Trey. Maybe they're listening to the podcast where you're like, I wouldn't even sign Dak anymore. I do a quarterback every 4 years. Here we go. What's your reaction as a Dallas fan?
Look, I honestly think it's not a bad move. He's only 23 years old. I mean,
great move.
The 49ers gave up 3 first-round draft picks and move up to get him. We get him for a 4th. He's going to sit as the 3rd string to sit back and learn. I think the whole thing is this like players do their negotiation tactics. Owners have theirs as well. This is a win-win for Dallas. If they don't extend Dak this year, he's going to be $59 million against the cap next year. So they have to either extend him or get rid of him. And I said this before. I said if the Cowboys don't make the NFC Championship game, I think Dak and I think McCarthy are on the chopping block. I really do. And I think this saves them from drafting a quarterback. He was a 1st rounder for a reason. We don't have much tape on him. He's only started 4 games maybe.
Yeah,
I think it's a good move, because if Dak wants to play hardball and wants $55 million a year, which I don't think he deserves, they have Trey Lance, who's gonna have I think he's getting $900,000 this year, $5 million next year with a 5th year option. It's a win-win for Dallas. So
Trey Lance in that blue and silver. I mean, I'd be excited.
Are they restructuring Prescott though? What do you think the chances they restructure him are?
Well, if they do, then he's going to be with us for the rest of his life, or the rest of his career, I should say, not life. And then Trey Lance is going to be eventually the number 2. But there's no talks about it right now. There's no talks at all. The problem is, are you willing to give somebody who only has like 2 or 3 playoff wins $55 million a year? Because let's face it, that's where the market's going. It's at 52 right now. The next round is going to be higher than that, and the next round will be higher than that. So Dak's going to fit in that 52. I don't know if he wants to be the highest, but they all want to be the next man up. So Joe Burrow is going to set the market again. Right now, is the highest is 52, so he'll probably be 54, and then the next group will be 55 again. So, are you willing to lock up your future on a quarterback that he's been good at times, but he's been really bad at times as well?
What I thought was crazy the other day is like, think about some of these guys that don't show up to camp. I think it was Boza was getting like a $40,000 to $50,000 fine a day, right? Mm-hmm. A day. You think about how crazy the world is that there's some people that make $50,000 a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
you could argue work harder. That you could even argue work harder every single day. But these guys are out there. It's just crazy.
These guys have great agents. I mean, look at Zach Martin. He sat out and was fined $680,000. His new contract had $680,000 put back into it. Yeah. Like his deal was like 30,000. I don't know if it what exactly was. It was like 30,000 or 30,680,000. So he made his money back. These guys know what they're doing. Their agents know what they're doing.
Well, you see, some of these agents don't want to represent running backs anymore because the market just keeps dropping.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the problem is these guys, Bozas, both of them, they want to make over $30 million a year. That's a lot of money.
They're good. They're good though. They'll get it.
I mean, that's what Mike. So real quick, my thought on Trey Lance, I thought the Cowboys kind of helped out. They did an attaboy with the 49ers. Like, okay, we'll give up something just to get him. I don't even know if he plays there. Like outside of maybe you hate to say injuries, but
if they extend Dak, then no, he's not. He's going to be a number 2 for the rest of his career unless we trade him away.
I think he plays if Dak gets injured, or if you guys if you guys just don't do good in the playoffs. Like if you go one out again, like I'm seriously questioning Dak. I mean, Dak's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but at what point are you going to continue just to go to the playoffs and lose?
My feelings right now is if they don't extend Dak before week 1, he's not getting extended this year. And then they're going to have a decision to make. If they don't make it to the championship game, is Dak our quarterback of the future, or are we going to go with Trey Lance? I think that's what's going to happen.
You give that an A+ grade right there, getting Trey Lance for 4th round pick?
Absolutely. I mean, you can steal a 1st round quarterback for a 4th round pick. Absolutely.
I wonder if that puts a little pressure on Dak. Bring in a young guy to show him like, hey, he's here and he's in the back pocket, and this is what is waiting if you can't deliver for us. Like if you can't get us to the championship game with the teams that we've had in the past couple of years, like we got our guy waiting.
I don't like. Trey has to be feeling so much pressure though, and I know a new scenery probably helps, but man, the amount of scrutiny that he's gotten like the last year or so since he's pretty much been drafted has been insane. And now he's on one of the like most talked about markets too. I just don't know. I don't know where that dude's head's at either.
What do you think about Sadie probably is too with that injury? Just knowing, man, if I never would have gotten injured, I'd still be the starter right now.
But the problem about Trey Lance, too, is he went to a team that already had a starter, Jimmy G. He's never had that opportunity like an Anthony Richardson who's going to get thrown right into the mix. Trey's never had that opportunity to get thrown straight in.
By the I don't know how much we want to segue away, but Colt McCoy got cut released by the.
He did.
So did Duggan. Duggan got cut.
It's because Dobbs got sent over there, and Dobbs has been a very good quarterback in the preseason the past couple of years with the Browns, and he got to play with the Titans last year in the season because Tannehill was out. And I think Dobbs is going to start, or they're going to start their rookie.
You know what's funny though? Before we segue off this, I listened to ESPN radio in the morning, and these two guys, I'm not going to mention their names, but they're professionals, and they said that if Dak doesn't get restructured, he's going to be a backup in the NFL next year.
I don't think so.
There are quarterback market's thin.
I was going to say, how many teams actually need a quarterback now you think about it?
Yeah.
Unless these rookies don't play good, but you've spent money and picks on them. Like if Anthony Richardson doesn't pan out, gets like 4 wins, and Dak's a free agent.
Yeah. Does he have 1 year left? So like essentially if they don't re-sign him, they probably have a ton of cap against or something.
I think they might cut him to save money.
He has a couple years left, but the thing is Dallas has their out. Next year is the opportunity to get out of his deal. But if they don't
Okay.
restructure him, it's going to be $58 million against the cap next year. Just like Watson. Watson got restructured for this year for Cleveland. His deal is like 19 million or whatever it is for this year, but his dead cap hit for the next 3 years is $63 million a year for the next three. So the thing is now Cleveland is in an opportunity where they're going to have to change his contract again and restructure his contract or extend him to bring that number down.
I'm excited to see how the Browns play. I have an interesting thing to talk about them when we talk about division winners, but I'm very interested. Let's talk about preseason. Obviously, the Saints ended the preseason yesterday for everybody playing the 8:00 game. How do you guys feel? 3 games out. We get a break this week, and then it's football. And it's football. College football starts this week. Did you guys see enough in preseason to get a little bit of confidence, or do you feel confident in some of the young guys you got to see? Was there anything you didn't like?
Hey, so I'll give this to you because the Cowboys didn't play any of their starters, so I really don't know what we have.
The outside of I think the second game where Cousins maybe played a quarter. I don't even think Cousins played in the preseason either. I don't think JJ did either. Ty Chandler, the running back, looks pretty good. So he's slotted as like second on the depth chart, behind Madison, obviously. So I'm not all that concerned with the offense. We got decent depth at O-line as well, and most of the guys are coming back healthy. Plus, we have a stud left tackle. Completely blanking on the dude's 71. Why, whatever. Our line, I'm so nervous about the D line though. They just have no depth, and I just imagine the 49ers and the Eagles and even the Cowboys that at least they have Parsons, who's a stud, and does Lawrence. Either way, they seem to have more depth, and these top teams are so talented defensively that I think the Vikings come back down from obviously last year for sure.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest concern is I just think that teams are going to be able to pound us, wear us down potentially, and we got rid of so many veterans that it would have been nice to have at least one kicking on the team. Like we still have Harrison Smith, great, but defensive backfield, it doesn't matter how good you're talented you are. If you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, dude can sit there all day. He's going to find somebody. So D-line has to come through this year for us, and I'm a little nervous about the depth now.
It's funny you talk about like a veteran presence on a team. Matthew Stafford's wife was actually interviewed for Sports Illustrated, and
crazy.
And she was just talking about how like the generational gap between Matthew Stafford now and this young team they have between all these rookies. She talks about he comes out of usually you come out of the shower after practice, guys are playing cards, they're playing games. He comes out of the shower and they're just all on their phones and just, they're calling him, yes, sir. And he just feels like this old guy. He's like, I'm not even old. I just thought that was funny to hear that story and just see how different things are going on in the NFL locker room. It was great to watch Saints play this preseason. Derek Carr only played the first game. I think you saw enough of him where they're like, all right, we got our guy. Don't got to show him anymore. Yesterday was pretty cool because Jimmy Graham did dress up. And I would say most people thought he was going to make the team. But I think what really sealed it for him was his 20-yard moss catch where he completely mossed this guy and to show that he still has his hops. And then catching a touchdown pass using his basketball skills in the red zone, which, again, is why I think they brought him on this team. We were one of the worst teams in the red zone. You had a lot of weapons. You have a running back who had the most rushing touchdowns last year. You got some more tight ends. You got some more receivers. You added Jimmy Graham in there, who's got this great vertical 6'6" guy. Looked great. I felt like I was in 2013 again, watching Jimmy Graham be a wide receiver on the sideline. It was great. I know he's not the 2013 Jimmy Graham. Don't think anyone is expecting that from him, but it's just so cool to see Jimmy Graham rocking the number 80.
Who's the other tight end?
We have Foster Monroe and Juwan Johnson, who I think is going to be a very good stud with Derek Carr. I mean, you saw when Derek Carr played that week 1 game in the preseason, he threw him at least twice. Used to be a receiver, now a tight end, put on muscle weight this year. Like, he's fast. He can run really good routes. I'm excited. It's going to be interesting with the cuts because there were some really good young wide receivers. And then we have some veteran wide receivers that didn't even play because they're still dealing with soft tissue injuries. Where if I'm a GM, I'm sorry, you didn't play, didn't show me anything. These young guys want it.
Those don't go away either. Soft tissue injuries never go away.
Yeah, so I'd be making that. So
the Saints are going to be that team. They're going to be like the Eagles a few years ago, where they're going to be 13-1 in the season, and everyone's going to be shocked that they're there. But this team has it's the easiest schedule, I think, for them to come back and bounce back.
Yeah.
And they have a division where there's a lot of new quarterbacks in the division. This is their opportunity to get back to the playoffs. Even though on paper they're going to look like a stud team, they still have growing to do. But I just think they're a sleeper team that no one is talking about.
I think what really excites me is Derek Carr isn't Drew Brees, but Derek Carr brings a lot of qualities similar to Drew Brees. Leadership, firing up a team. He's going to be buddy-buddy with you, but he's also going to tell you when you're doing something dumb and stupid. He's going to want this offense to thrive. The offensive playbook, they're bringing back screenplays. We're bringing back the deep throws. And when you see guys like Cam Jordan and DeMar Davis, veterans who have been in this league, who have backed up Jameis Winston, backed up Andy Dalton, and they're just talking about it's different in this locker room. You have to be here. Something different is happening this year.
I should have drafted Kamara.
I took the risk in my one league. He's only suspended 3 games, but I mean, if you look at the Saints' first 5 games of the year, I actually think I have a picture of it.
Dude, yeah, that would be nice.
What's funny?
Pop up
in my fantasy draft at work that's coming up. We're all we're picking a coach, and the coach. If you get a coach that has wins, you get bonus points. And I gave my boss and one of my other boss 10 picks, and it took them 9 picks till they got the Dennis Allen. I said, that's who I'm taking. They laughed at me. I said, I'm taking Dennis Allen. I guarantee you he's going to have over 12 wins.
Listen to these first 8 games for the Saints, right? And I'm not going to be that Saints fan. Yeah, we could do our predictions real quick for our teams if you have that. I'm not going to be that Saints fan. Be like, Saints could be 8-0, right? Because you can lose any given Sunday to a team. They play the Titans, Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers, Buccaneers, the Patriots, Texans, Jaguars, and the Colts. I would say 40% of those, if not more, have a new quarterback, a young quarterback. Mm-hmm. Saints could easily go 7-1 right there. You could say 6-2, losing to like the Patriots and the Jags.
Yep. Yeah, I was thinking those two. Maybe I can't see them losing to Tennessee, but like maybe because it is first game of the year, who knows?
Who knows, right? And you know what? The Saints could go out there and not even play Saints ball, right? I could be blowing steam at my butt right now. They could go 4 wins and how many losses, you know what I mean? But when you look at that schedule right there, just the first 8 games, Saints could be a top 5 team right there.
That's so crazy why like picking the Saints as a sleeper to go over under on their totals makes a lot of sense to go over because of who's in their division. And then like on the opposite end, the AFC West and the AFC East, where it's like, okay, I might take the under on a lot of these teams because of who's in their divisions. And who
it wouldn't surprise me to see the Saints go undefeated in their division.
Oh, well, they showed a picture yesterday. I wish I would have taken a picture of it. Look at the quarterbacks in the division. Desmond Ridder, Bryce Young, and Baker Mayfield. They combine their passing yards, their starts, and then compare that to Derek Carr. I mean, you have a guy that has been around the league for so long, 9 seasons. This is his 10th season. And, I'm not gonna sit here and really get myself excited because in my mind, I have 3 records down for the Saints. And if we don't get one of these records, I feel like it's a failure of a season based off paper, based off not getting injuries. This is my unrealistic schedule, 13-4. That's the best.
I can see it. I can see it.
I have 13-4. I have 11-6. I personally think they can finish 11-6. A lot of the leagues I've seen do their predictions have them going 10-7 or 9-8, whatever it is. But I think 11-6 is one that, like, if we don't hit 10 or 11 wins, I think it's a failure of a season for us.
10 wins get you in the playoffs.
In that division, especially.
Yeah.
Real quick, I got a Baker Mayfield stat since you brought up Baker. Baker Mayfield will be the 11th number 1 pick and 6th quarterback in the common draft era since 1967 to appear in a game for at least 4 different franchises. The last quarterback to do that was drafted number 1 was Sam Bradford.
Wow. And we'll get into everyone's fantasy picks. But one thing I wanted to say is, like, I feel like Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, at least in both of my drafts that I've seen, they dropped so low in the draft. And I think it's because no one knows how Baker's going to play this year. And me personally, I'm intrigued to see how he plays. Part of me doesn't want him to do good because he's in my division. but I would like Baker to find a home that he can play well in, maybe get like 8 wins and not make the playoffs and the Saints beat him, kind of vibe. But like,
the thing that aggravated me about our draft is you and I were talking with Hasek and I was bringing up Michael Thomas. No one took Michael Thomas yet. He was like ranked 40th for receivers. And then what happens? No one takes him.
It's funny, man.
I was going to take him.
He's number one on our, like, he's still the number one wide receiver for our team. Like when people list the depth chart, Michael Thomas is the number one receiver. There's a look in his eye where I hope he gets his redemption tour this year. You hate to see a player just continue to deal with injuries because it's hard to control that, but I'm curious. What do you guys feel like your team's going to go this year?
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot and you haven't thought about it. We can skip over that if you haven't.
No, yeah.
You can at least say how many wins you're shooting for.
Yeah, I kind of had the same outlook as you, Ty, where I think they could go either, I'm going to say 9 to 11 wins.
Yeah.
So like low end 9, high end 11.
Yeah.
Because 9 and 8, they probably miss the playoffs. But, 10, 11, hopefully you'd think you'd get in with that many for sure.
Yeah. What about you, Dad? The big D down there in Jerry World.
I can see.
Sorry, we play the AFC West though too.
Oh,
I could see us winning 12 games again, but I have coin flip games like against Miami, against Buffalo in December in Buffalo. I think we lose that game. Always playing the Eagles. It's you. That's your goal. Your goal is to split with them because it's probably going to come down to those two teams again. But I think they got to take care of business with the Giants and Commanders, and I just think that they have a road to 12 wins.
I think the Commanders is a team that I want to keep my eye on this year. Like, how Jacksonville last year was the team that we were like, keep an eye on Jacksonville. There's something about no one really talking about the Commanders. Sam Howell, who's got a cannon of an arm, and a lot of these wide receivers are talking highly of. I actually got something right here. It just says Ron Rivera says that Sam Howell's performance in Week 17 against the Cowboys last season made him wish that he would have played Howell sooner. I think that's going to be your starter.
Jeez.
I hope they bring back the Redskins, but that is going to be an interesting team. They still have that good defensive line. They have good weapons in Scary Terry. You still got Dotson out there. You got some running backs.
Well,
that's an interesting division.
Bill Barnwell every year does his projections for teams, for at least 4 teams or 5 teams that are going to improve this year. Last year, he was 4-1 on his picks. This year, he has Chicago, Denver, Cleveland, and the Rams all improving by wins this year. Last year, Chicago last year, they lost 13 of their 14 games. They started 2-1. They were 1-6 and 7-point games. They were 3-14, and they were 9th. They have the 9th easiest schedule this year. Denver, who was 5-12, they were 4-9 on 1-score games. Not all of them can go 11-0 like Minnesota.
So
they got the 11th toughest schedule, and they were the most injured team in the NFL last year. I really, really think everyone's cutting Russell Wilson down. I think with the new offensive line, the new weapons they have, even though they have injuries to Judy, but that Mims
Stidham looked good in his preseason game. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
This team's going to bounce back.
Highlights.
Hey, by the way, before you go on, imagine being a Bears fan, you're 2-1, and your emotions are probably so high. I'm betting right now on the Super Bowl, and then you just lose almost every single game.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Cleveland has the 13th easiest schedule. This is the second year with Watson. I think it's going to be a big improvement.
You guys think they get more or less than 9 wins?
In the division, they're going to go under 500 probably.
When we get to talking about the division winners, we'll do that after this, and then
that's the toughest one to pick.
I feel like the Browns, could make a big turn because we'll talk about it. We'll talk about my reasons. Go ahead, Dad.
The Rams were 5-12, and they were 2-4 in games of 1 score or less. My thing about the Rams is I think the Rams are done. I just think Matthew Stafford is still having issues with his throwing ability and stuff like that. I think the Rams are going to be the one he gets wrong. I think, if anything, he should have the Lions on here. I think the Lions can win 11 games.
Wow, yeah, I do. So we all gave our what we hope for wins as far as our teams. Let's break down divisions, but before we get to divisions, I just wanted to show you guys the top 5 rankings from Pro Football Focus. Tell me if you agree or disagree. Obviously, you got the Chiefs number 1, Eagles number 2, Niners number 3 with that stellar defense, and Brock Purdy is back. Bengals at 4, Bills at 5. I will tell you, Ace, the Vikings fell in at 14, Saints fell in at 26, and the Cowboys fell in at 7. that I know that me and you just discussed that we both agree they probably fit at 6. I think the Browns were at 9.
How are the Saints should be?
I don't know. I'm not going to let it hurt me.
Are. Yeah,
not going to
no
let it hurt
kidding.
me.
I mean, it's a stupid ranking system.
I think it's a good 5. I think it's a good 5.
Yeah, the 5 is
I
fine.
disagree. I honestly think, how can you? I mean, the Eagles. This is basically going off of last year.
Yeah, basically.
How can the Eagles be number 2 when they lost a lot of players? They lost an defensive coordinator. I just don't know how you can put them there. If you're truly doing a real assessment of a team, I really don't think that they're there. I think the 49ers are too. I think they're a better team.
I think you have to base it off last year because nothing's happened yet this year. Obviously, like you can say, yeah, they lost their defensive coordinator, they lost players, but for all we know, they might not even lose a beat. And
I mean, they got Baltimore at 7, which is crazy because Lamar didn't even play most of the year last year.
Yeah, he seems like more of an unknown. That I love critiquing him too because it gives us something to talk about.
And the Jets get one quarterback and they're number 8. I mean, I could honestly say the Saints could be in the top 10. I honestly don't agree with that statement at all, man. I'm telling you.
Hey, that's gonna be going all year, Chris. Sadly.
Let's break this down because this is my hot take this year. You know, we'll start in the AFC East. Good division, Miami, the Bills, the Jets, the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be a little different this year. I got the Jets win that division, man. I think it's my hot take. I think the Bills are going to be neck and neck with them. Here's my thing. I think the Bills are going to, this is how I'm playing it out in my head. Bills winning it almost all season. Jets come out of nowhere and take it.
What about Miami? I drafted Tua, not to sidestep.
No one's hey, real quick. Did you guys see the side camera they put on Tua's helmet and you're able to see like him taking like snaps and stuff? It was really cool. Really cool. It looks difficult to see over a defensive line. Like, I'll be honest.
Look, I honestly got to tell you something, and this is going to be my sleeper. I think the Miami Dolphins win that division.
They could.
I think the Bills have issues at the offensive line. Connor McGovern's hurt. They just lost their center of Doyle, whatever his name is. I think he broke his wrist or whatever he did.
Oh, wow.
No one's talking about the Dolphins upgraded their defense. They have Vic Fangio now, who was the defensive coordinator for the Broncos last year, and they had a stellar defense. Mm-hmm. You know, they beefed up that defensive line. They have one of the best linebacking corps in football. The only thing they're missing the guy that they picked up from the Rams, Ramsey. He's out. Other than that,
but he'll be back by December.
Solid defense. I am going to put it down. The Miami Dolphins win this. It's going to be close. It's going to be by a game, but they win the division.
I think you can pick a lot of options in this division. I agree. I think Miami has a question mark for me. I want to see how Tua looks because you think about it, the first quarter of the season, first half of the season, I mean, Waddle and Tyreek Hill were both on pace to have 1,000 yards receiving. That's how good they were playing.
I'm going with the Buffalo Bills because cold weather games, I think, I shouldn't say that. I just think the Dolphins are going to have to play up in New York or Buffalo, maybe when it's not the best weather.
That's a huge difference. Like living in Florida now, like if I had to go to Buffalo in the negative degrees, like
and snow, it's like, okay, now you can kind of neutralize the speed that they have with Hill and Waddle. But I think nobody's talking or everyone's talking somewhat negatively about the Bills. I mean, there was crap about Diggs earlier on.
There's a lot of drama there.
There is. And I could see that affecting the Bills this year. You see how drama always somehow affects a team.
And look, let's face it. The Jets are overhyped because of Rodgers.
Yeah, I think they're overhyped, but who's the D coordinator? He walked away. So now McDermott for the Bills, I think, is calling the defensive plays. I don't know how much that has an impact on them also.
Well, look, in the history of the Jets and all their quarterbacks, they've only had one quarterback throw for 30 TDs or more. They've only had one quarterback throw for 4,000 yards, and they've never had an MVP as a quarterback in their team on their team. Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs, 8 30 TD seasons, and 10 4,000-yard seasons. That's why they're hyped. But I watched them play. I watched them play with their starters against the Giants scrubs, and Aaron Rodgers was running for his life. When they open up against Buffalo. When they open up against Buffalo and they play Dallas week 2, I'm telling you right then and there, Aaron Rodgers is going to be sacked over 8 times in 2 games.
Jets are going to go 2-0.
I could see that. And they still could be 2-0.
They still could be
15 times. And
Joe Burrow had the worst offensive line, but he still went.
What if they were playing the Saints week 2? Would you be saying
they're losing all day? They're going to go to the Dome and lose.
Of course.
All right, AFC North. I have the Bengals winning, but I feel like this division is a very good coin toss. I mean, the Ravens with Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham and Dobbins back.
Pittsburgh.
And that's the thing. Pittsburgh. Who knows how well Pittsburgh will be? I mean, Mike Tomlin's one of the best coaches to not have a
never
losing
had a
record.
losing season. Yeah,
like how can you throw that out there? Like that's something you have to take.
Where's
then,
Pittsburgh ranked?
Oh, I don't know.
Where were they? Yeah,
they were in the teens. They were somewhere in the teens, I think.
19th.
So we have Bengals.
But now here's where I'm at with the Browns, right? You've seen what Deshaun Watson can do when he plays, right? Texans, like they didn't have a good team, but he was able to put up good points and he was able to get him to the playoffs. I think that one time, right? You have the league's best running back, in my opinion, Nick Chubb. You have decent receivers. You have Amari Cooper, good receiver. You still have a pretty B- defense.
Yeah,
What's stopping them from winning that division? What's stopping them from winning that division? You know what I mean? Like, that's why, like, this division, like, I think is going to be a fight till the end.
I think it's going to be one of those divisions where they beat up on each other.
And then their records look bad, but really they're just beating up on each other. Yeah.
Yeah, because Lamar, if he's healthy, they're a good team. Defensively, I'm not sure how good their defense is going to be. Pittsburgh, Pickett looks amazing, in the preseason.
Pittsburgh's never an easy, like, it's not like you could just roll over on them.
And the fan base is getting excited for that team, so it's tough to play in Pittsburgh.
I'm taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals, but I think that this is going to be a tough division.
Yeah.
Nope. I'm going Pittsburgh.
I was just going to say that. I'm
you could say it, Ace. You could say it. We got two Pittsburghs. You know what? I'm picking Pittsburgh now too. I'm just kidding.
Well, I think Burrow's going to get hurt.
That's the thing I've been thinking about too. Is like, how is that calf injury? Yeah. Is that something that's going to bug him if he takes one bad hit?
He's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL.
Still took him to the Super Bowl, though. What did they say about Aaron Rodgers?
I understand that.
Didn't they get the Chiefs dude? Like, I know it's not easy to just say, hey, bring a new guy in and make him work, but didn't they get the guy from the Chiefs?
Yeah. And they're saying they might cut Collins, the guy from Dallas. He's an offensive line.
He's horrible.
The Steelers had to have improved on the line, though, too.
All right, you guys are taking the Steelers. I'm taking the Bengals. We head to the AFC South, where I'm taking the Jags. I think Anthony Richardson. I'm hoping Anthony Richardson plays well, but I don't
Jags
think
by 3 games.
I think the Jags are taking that division.
Do I dare say the Titans and just like totally?
You know Tajay Spears. Do you know Tajay Spears dominated this preseason as a running back for the Titans?
Oh yeah,
he had like 509 yards rushing or something.
You know, I saw something where he has like no cartilage in his one knee.
He's great. I wanted him. That was the only thing that wasn't checked off on my Saints checklist. Remember that checklist I had? Trade Sean Payton, get Derek Carr. I almost nailed that. I almost nailed all of those. Who are you taking, Ace? He's gonna be
their third down back.
Jaguars.
He's their second down back. I mean, he's their second back. So I don't know.
I know.
No, I don't think he'll be the third down back. Henry's your third down back if you need that extra yards or 2 yards.
Well, I know. I mean, if it's like 3rd and 8, you're gonna do screen passes.
Oh yeah.
But he's not gonna. I mean, you're gonna see freaking Henry get 20 to 25.
Oh yeah, he's just so good. That's how they win. You have to.
Yeah. So I think Tannehill he'll be benched before half of the season.
You know what's interesting about Tennessee though? It's not that other guy they drafted. What's that guy they drafted?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He didn't. No, but what's the other guy they drafted?
Shoot, let me look.
He wasn't the talk about this preseason. It was Malik Willis. He dominated this preseason.
Oh yeah, they drafted the mush. Yeah, he got a lifetime freaking mayonnaise deal because he puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
Yeah, it's weird. Or was it cereal or something?
He puts mayonnaise in his coffee.
Will Levis, the rookie. That's
he got a lifetime deal with the mayonnaise company.
I mean,
but that's interesting too because if Tannehill doesn't play well, you'd probably think the fans are cheering for Levis. Yeah. But Malik Willis is going to be the one to go in, and I like him too.
So, let me back up for 1 second. Let me ask you guys something real quick. How important is it for Joe Burrow to have a great year because it's a contract year and it being injured?
Oh, he's got it. I mean, he hasn't got it, but you think about the deal who just got a deal? Herbert, and it was like an amazing deal.
$52 million.
I'd be asking for a deal now before I get injured. I'd be like, hey, you give me $54 million. I'll sign $2 million more right now.
And we talked about this before we came on that Arch Manning down in Texas, the University of Texas, is making $2 million more than Joe Burrow.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy, those INL deals. Hey, this is an easy one. AFC West Chiefs all day. I do question the receivers, though. They lost Juju. They lost Hardman. They got some young guys, but we talked about last year, Tyreek Hill's gone. They're over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm still taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, but what year was that when they started out real bad and Mahomes was struggling?
Dude,
and everyone
that was
off?
2 years ago. And we sat on we sat on this podcast and we all said the Chiefs were done.
No, we did not. No, we did not.
And then they went to the.
I said no way they're done.
Check the tapes. Check the.
I'm gonna check the tape on that one.
Check the tapes.
I don't believe that either.
You know the Chiefs haven't played a playoff game on the road since Mahomes has been there.
Jeez, man, isn't that crazy? There would be something to step into Arrowhead and win in that game as a road guy. Like, could you imagine the Conor McGregor walk you could do walking out of that stadium?
All right, I'm going on a limb just like I did with the other ones. I'm taking the Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I'm
taking the Chargers with a healthy offensive setup with Keenan Allen playing the whole year, Mike Williams playing, with Eckler who's going to be going off. And I think with this offensive mindset that they have there now with Kellen Moore, who had the Cowboys ranked in the top 2 in offense and averaging over 34 points a game, I'm saying that the Chargers with their good defense are winning that division.
That's a good pick. We had 2 NFC East.
Jones. Sorry, that just makes me think Chris Jones if he doesn't play right away either.
He said he'll be out till week 8.
NFC East is tricky, but based off last year, just basing it off last year, I think I'm going to stick with Eagles. I think the Eagles offense is still very, very good compared to the tight ends, the receiving depth that they have. Obviously, who's the running back they got? Swift is the only question mark, I think, for the offense if he can stay healthy. I want to take Dallas, Dad. I do. I know you took the Saints a lot from me last year when they sucked. I want Dallas to win that division. I don't want the Eagles to win that division.
I'm going to pick the New York. No.
That's another thing, too. Washington Commanders.
The New York Commanders.
I'm going to go with that. Yeah, the New York. I'm going to go with Dallas Cowboys. How many years has it been? 19? No, actually, you know what?
This will be the 20th year.
Because it's been 20 with different, I'm going to pick the Eagles just so that it's the same team and breaks that up. Because I'm mean.
No.
Dumb.
It's not happening. I'm going Dallas Cowboys all day, and I'm not saying it because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I just think, Hurts got paid last year. It's going to be a different year. And I think defensively, they have a great defensive line. They're weak at the linebacker position. They just picked up suspended Isaiah Rodgers, which shows you how weak their cornerback position is. I just think Dallas this year, and Dallas has so many good players and so much good talent. Brandon Cooks. There's a lot of good players on this team that are hard to cover one-on-one.
I agree.
So I think this is going to be a great year for them. They have a new offensive scheme. It's that Texas Coast offense. And I just think Dallas is going to be a step above everybody else in that division. It's going to be one of the best divisions in football. But I think Dallas wins that division. And I think it comes down to the Dallas Cowboys versus the Eagles. That's going to be the key game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really
It's
wish
not going to be a blowaway.
It's
not going to be a blowaway. I think this is going to come down to that December game against the Eagles.
Yeah. We head to the NFC North, which it's a very...
by the way, real quick, last year I said the Eagles were going to win my division by 2 games, and I think they won it by 3.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know. My memory's not that great.
So I'm not a homer.
NFC North, I've always been rooting for the Vikes here, Ace. I just don't know. I don't know how Madison is. I don't know how the weapons are going to be on the Vikes. I like the weapons on the Lions. And I think this division is going to be all Lions and Vikings all year. And I just don't know who to pick. I'm leaning towards the Lions right now. I like Kirk. I got nothing against the Vikings. I just think the Lions defense needs to, if they're good, they picked up Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I like the head coach and Campbell. I just don't know enough about the Vikings right now. I need to see them in the first couple games.
There's a fire in Detroit right now. There's a fire in Detroit. They're hungry.
All right, Chris, just get it over with. Break my heart.
I honestly think I know a couple of weeks ago I was saying that Detroit's going to win a division by 2 games. I honestly believe it's going to be a really good division. I think it's going to be a tough division. Minnesota's
tough.
Minnesota's question is going to be the same question we talked about before to their defense. Offensively, they're a stellar team, just like every other team. I honestly believe Chicago's going to surprise a lot of people. And I think Love has shown and turned a lot of
That's
heads.
another team too, man. That's another team to keep on your radar. Like, there's so many question marks about this season.
They had a really good defense last year. They had a couple injuries. I honestly think Love looks comfortable in that offense. And I think who do they have? Watson, and I don't know who else they have as far as receivers go.
Like
so I just think it's gonna be a closer division than I said. I think the Lions still win that division, but I think it's gonna be a shootout all year.
It's gonna be so close. Yeah, like that's why I'm like, it can either go Vikings or Lions.
But it wouldn't surprise me if somebody else finished ahead of the Lions. But I just think the Lions, and then you throw out whatever you want for second place.
Yeah, I think the Packers might arguably have the best defense in that division, but God, offensively, it's almost like the Lions. So
and honestly, like, this is like a very hot take, but you can't even shoot at the Bears right now. I mean, the off season that they have had, DJ Moore, Edmonds on the defense is loaded on the Bears. If they can get an offensive chemistry going and actually score some points this year and hold a lead, that's who's to say that doesn't turn into the NFC East division, you know what I mean? Where they're all battling every game.
The key about them is the offensive line and trying to keep Fields from running first and throwing second. You know, he's got to sit in that pocket a little bit longer before he scrambles and runs away, because he's got good weapons, like you said.
Yeah. So let's keep this going, because I am running low on time here.
I'm gonna say Vikings quick.
Vikings, okay.
I've said, I'm just going with the Vikings.
NFC South, just based off everything we talked about, and the experience in Carr, I'm going with the Saints.
Saints win that by freaking a landslide.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Saints versus Dallas NFC Championship game.
But I will tell you this. I think next year it's going to be a better division. And I
do too.
I honestly believe Tampa Bay within the next 2 years, they're going to be nothing. They're going to fall apart. They're getting older.
It's the Panthers you got to watch for.
I think Atlanta and I think Carolina and the Saints are going to be. It's going to be a great division, and probably the next 2 years.
We end with the NFC West, which I'm a lock with the 49ers. Just that defense and Brock Purdy, if he plays like Brock Purdy did last year, I think they have that division. Oh, what is Ace thinking here?
Is there any, a part of me, I got to go Niners. I initially thought maybe the Seahawks, but the 49ers have so much depth. Like, they just seem to be great at drafting and just good overall. It's hard to not pick them to win again. So it's not sexy, but whatever. Neither is my fantasy team.
It's funny. I saw a stat where it showed like Seattle was like 22-2 during their big runs at home when they had like the Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of years, I think they're like 14 and some odd number. They're below 500. So they don't have that home field edge anymore. I think Seattle's going to be a good team, but I think the 49ers run the roost. Really do. I mean, who else is going to challenge them? I think in order for Seattle to even be mentioned, they have to split and find a way to beat the 49ers at least one of the games.
Yeah,
but I think the 49ers win that division.
It's that defense, man. That defense is just so deadly.
Yeah. The key is going to be is Brock Purdy the same guy now that they have tape on him? People have tape. They can study him now. They can take it. Dak's first year, he was 13-1 or something like that. He was ridiculous numbers, and the next year he fell off. So teams adjust and they learn. So we'll see how good Brock is.
This Seahawks offense is no slouch, and who knows about the defense? They got Bobby Wagner back, it looks like. I don't know what
Bobby Wagner is back. What you got right there, 50? Dad?
I have a couple free agents that are still available. Kareem Hunt, who actually has been in contact with the Colts because Jonathan Taylor has requested a trade. They obligated him to get that trade, and they're saying that he will be traded sometime soon. So Kareem Hunt is in contact with them. Leonard Fournette is another one. Guard Dalton Reisner, who had a great season with the Broncos last year. He's the one that had to fight with the backup quarterback, remember, on the field? It was like on national TV. Yeah. So he's still available. Kenny Galladay, which I said is a good receiver. He just was in a bad situation with the Giants. Melvin Ingram, defensive end, who is a freaking sack machine. Depth. Yeah, and Kyle Van Noy is another one that's out there.
Yeah, he's getting older, though.
And one more stat, Cowboys edge Michael Parsons needs 13 sacks to become the second player since 1982 to reach the mark in each of his first 3 seasons. The last person to do it was Reggie White.
That's automatic. Just give him the holiday. That's great company. The Vikings need to get both those guys, Van Noy and Ingram, just for depth alone. I forgot they're changing to a 3-4 system too, by the way. which just seems very late in the game.
Yeah.
I am honestly so pumped up for this season. I mean, there's so many unknowns.
So excited,
there's so many teams that are borderline good that this season could be totally flipped upside down. I'm so excited for cut day now. It's one day. All these cuts are going to take place in one day now. So free agent nut house will begin on Wednesday. People picking up players if they want.
Just want to see.
I can't wait.
Just want to see
the madness
throwing touchdowns. It's so funny because like 5 games got 5. Yeah. I have a lot of it. 5 games into the season, dude. Like it could either be like the worst thing ever or the best thing ever. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like 5 games into it, you could be like, "Yep, I hate football season." Like just be over already.
Yeah. Well, college football.
We're gonna have competitive teams, though.
We are,
especially. Brady was out, right? Brady was Brady's last year. Why am I
last year? Yeah, last year was Brady's last year.
Now, you're home free with the Saints. Not to jinx him, but at least he's out of the division.
You know what I love? The Cowboys get to play Aaron Rodgers at home, who always hurts us and breaks our hearts every time we play him. We get to play the Chargers, who has Kellen Moore now, our old offensive coordinator. And then we get to play New England, who has Zeke on their team. So all those games. But college football kicked off. You know, Navy, they got blown out 42-3 by Notre Dame over
that guy
Ireland.
Went off. That quarterback went off.
Yeah. What's his name? What's his name from USC? Williams.
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. He went off. He had 4 touchdowns. They won 56-28. And the main games kick off this week. Michigan plays, Florida plays, all of them play, and Colorado takes on TCU.
I just like look at Michigan's schedule though, and it's like I feel like we play nobody. Like it's like not exciting. Like the SEC, like every single game is like almost every single game is like, go.
Alabama plays Middle Tennessee State this week.
Like the biggest game of the year for us is like the last game of the year.
There's no ranked games until like week 2 or week 3. That's when you'll start seeing teams that are ranked play each other. I mean, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about Penn State either.
JJ McCarthy's gonna be in the championship game versus Georgia, and I want to beat Georgia because my best friend's a diehard Georgia fan, and I want to see. You know, Georgia versus Michigan 2-3 years ago, that wasn't real. All right. I don't know what that was.
That was a heck of a game, though.
It was a terrible game. I know. I don't want to.
TCU beat us last year. So
that was just apparently our defense just doesn't show up when we're like the league's best defense, you know.
No, if you look at them, we look like little kids compared to those big boys down south.
Oh, I know.
They're just men playing against boys.
So the Gophers had like a 5-year returning starter just finished last year, and they have this. I think he's a redshirt sophomore this year, or maybe even a true sophomore or whatever. There is so much hype, at least locally, on some of the broadcasts, the radio broadcasts, whatever podcast. They are so high on this quarterback that they think they can. I mean, it's probably joking, but they think they can upset Michigan. They think they can upset every single team and I'm like, you guys got to get back to reality.
I would love to see a Michigan. I would love to see a Michigan quarterback get drafted in the first 2 rounds. I've never seen that.
I don't think our offense will allow that.
The offense last year was, but the offense last year was great.
Yeah, but we go with a run game. We're old school.
He's got a cannon, dude. I'll take him as Derek Carr's
successor. I know. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to hear crap about Penn State. They're ranked number 7. I looked at their schedule. They don't play shit this year. They don't play anybody.
Who's their quarterback? Do you know? Have they announced that?
McSorley got cut today, by the way.
That sucks.
But I just don't want to hear about Penn State. They don't deserve to be number 7.
You brought up a good point, Ty. Like outside of maybe Ohio State's quarterbacks, what other team in the Big Ten has had like that stud quarterback actually get drafted in the first couple rounds?
Ohio State.
When was
he said Cousins? Ohio? He said besides Ohio State.
Yeah, besides Ohio State, Kirk Cousins I think was later.
Michigan. The Big Ten. The Big Ten's more
Drew Brees when he's with Purdue.
The Big Ten is more like defense. Like we get a lot of good defense in the first couple of rounds. That by
Wisconsin.
the way, offensive line defense.
Yeah, Wisconsin's where you get your big boy offensive line.
Hey, Saints drafted
cornbread boys right there.
And Iowa.
Saints drafted Cesar Ruiz from Michigan 2 years ago in the first round for offensive line. So that's So I would love to see a quarterback.
Those Nebraska and Wisconsin boys, they go home and do some freaking farm work in the offseason, throwing freaking 2 bales of hay at a time. And those are some big boys down there.
Yeah, I still don't know what hard work feels like.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Well, guys, that's all I have.
Michigan wins again. Michigan wins the Big Ten again, and they get freaking Ohio State in home this year.
I think
you see that they were.
We should go.
They were pushing for Michigan and Ohio State to play Week 1 of the season.
Hey, what month is that in? That they go
November. It's the last game of the year.
We should go. What's stopping
us? That's my bucket list. But
honestly, what is stopping us from flying in on a Friday night, watching the game on Saturday, and leaving on a Sunday?
Can I give you a consolation? Michigan plays at Minnesota October 7th.
Ace, who wants to go to Minnesota?
It's fall. It's nice weather.
It would be cool to see Ace. And
you go to Minnesota, you might as well just keep going and go to Canada. I mean, you're right there.
Oh, yeah, we could. Do you want to trip up there? I'll rent.
Go watch a hockey game. Do some ice fishing.
See if I can grow a mustache out there.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a problem. Once the sun goes down, it's like hibernation almost.
And boys, I had nothing for baseball. The Yankees sucked. They're done. I just watched them play Little League Baseball the other night. I just have no freaking hope for them at all.
Yeah, no. I'm good. I gotta go pick up some Chinese food. Go ahead, Ace. Go pick them up.
Great segue. Chinese food will go to
Japanese, that's messed up.
Top Japanese play out. Shohei Ohtani. I just wanted to get your thoughts, guys, on like what his market is going to be like next year.
It dropped. They said it was going to be anywhere from $65 to $70 million a year, and they say it's going to drop now. This is his second ulnar injury. This is the second time he's injured that.
Okay.
You know, there's guys like DeGrom out there who are having their second Tommy John that might never, ever come back the same again. You know? Who was that guy for the Yankees, Ty?
Where does he go then?
I think he goes to the Giants. No, I think he goes to the Giants. I think the Giants are going to outbid the Dodgers for him.
I think the Yankees should bid on him.
No, I don't think they should because I mean, offensively, I think he'll have 50, 60 home runs in Yankee Stadium. That's a little league field down there. He's a lefty.
I don't think his market drops too much. I think with today's technology, it's like when you really look at him, like
not according to my source, Buster Only.
You don't name your source. What guy were you asking about? You said what about that? You said something about a Yankees player.
That Yankee guy that remember that Chinese or Japanese guy we had
Tanaka?
Had the arm injury. Yeah, remember he had arm issues as well.
I love Tanaka. He was good. Then he went back to Japan.
He bought his own 747 to fly back and forth to Japan. That seats like 300 people, man.
That's a long flight.
Wait.
Yeah.
Is that cheaper than private? Why the heck?
Probably.
He bought his own freaking 747. Dude, you could fit so many people on there.
So many.
Just think, you could sit in any seat you want.
Hey, my cat's getting antsy too, Ty. So I get it.
You can go cook her. You can go cook her up.
You said Chinese food and the cat goes nuts.
Hey, we do hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Twitter is dominating for us, and we love it. We love the support. Check out our Instagram page.
Dallas Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Saints, Vikings, and Dallas Cowboys are all going to go to the Super Bowl somehow.
It's going to be one hell of a game.
Hey, we do appreciate you guys. Check this out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, however you listen to your podcast. Don't forget to share it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you can find us. We love you guys. We appreciate your support. We'll see you guys next time.